Hello, my name is Professor Sylvester Henderson. I am the CEO of Professor for Life Incorporated. And on this podcast, I have the wonderful opportunity to interview a lot of academics and well-known professionals throughout the world internationally. I am so honored this morning to be able to interview Dr. Edward Bush, who is the president of Cosumnes River College in Sacramento, California. Welcome, Dr. Bush.
What's up, Doc? It is so good, man. We are way overdue. So I'm happy to be having this conversation with you. And you're doing a tremendous job and with your podcast and just continuing your work in education and impact that you are having. You're one of the giants in our system. And so, man, it's an absolute honor and privilege to occupy the same space with you today.
Well, I love you much, and I appreciate you taking your time. Dr. Bush, I want to ask you a question. Can you introduce yourself to our digital media academic world? Tell us where you grew up, share your academic journey, and where did you attend college?
Yeah, be happy to do that. Again, as you mentioned, Edward Bush, president of Cosumnes River College in Sacramento, to serve the South Sacramento, Elk Grove area. Have 17,000 plus 17,300 students. We're part of the Los Rios Community College District, which comprises of 4 colleges. Los Rios is the second largest community college district in the state of California, only second to the Los Angeles Community College District. I've had the pleasure of serving as college president since July of 2015, so I'm actually in my 11th year as college president here at Cosumnes River College. Is an amazing institution, so it has been nothing but an honor to serve alongside compassionate and dedicated and faculty, classified professionals, and administrators. So prior to that, I was a vice president in student services in Riverside City College. I was a part of the Riverside Community College District for 17 years prior to coming to CRC. So when I go somewhere, I tend to stay for a while, whether folks like it or not. So I actually been in the community college system since 1998. Started in higher education in 1995 as a missions counselor, recruiter, enrollment coordinator in the Cal State system and at Cal State San Bernardino. And I was fortunate to get that job while I was a graduate student there, working on my master's in public administration at Cal State San Bernardino. At the time, I had just finished my undergraduate degree for University of California Riverside in political science. And I got into student services based on my work as an undergraduate at UCR. I was a student activist. Being an activist is, part of my bloodline. My parents were raised in Columbus, Mississippi. Of course, during that time, segregated South. My family, particularly my mother's side of the family, was rooted in the civil rights movement. Worked with Medgar Evers, part of the voting registration. And so that is really part of my history and my tradition. And I carry that with me when I was a college student at UCR, and really throughout my career, really has anchored and centered me. At that time in UC Riverside, as most UCs, suffering for a lack of enrollment of Black students. And so me and other students really organized to improve outcomes and increase recruitment of Black students, and we were successful. And as a result of that experience, it really led me into my first professional job at Cal State San Bernardino doing recruitment. And really then that launched my career in student services and in higher education, based on that work. And so I really have, carried that with me throughout my career, how to make a difference with those who are most vulnerable, those who have not been served well by our institution. And so I'm, happy that I believe that I continue that effort in the variety of roles that I take on within the educational system.
And you completed, Dr. Bush, your doctorate in what area, at where?
So I'm a Ph.D. in urban educational leadership from Claremont Graduate University.
Wow. Okay. You have made such an impact on me. When I first met you, I believe, at the A2 Men Conference. And as one of the founders of the African American Male Education Network Development Program Institute, Please discuss the significance of this extremely noted program that originally was a California-based program, but it is expanding to become a national and international program that focuses on African American males.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir. So it's perfect timing. I mean, we're in our 20th year as an organization, about to have this upcoming March, our 19th annual conference, which is our signature event. But we're enjoying 20 years as an organization. So the organization, AMEND, as it's called, is made up of California Community College administrators and faculty that look to use our expertise, our scholarship, our experience as not just educators, but Black men ourselves navigating the educational system to improve outcomes for African American men, not just African American students. Although that is a big part of our purpose and our core, but we try to improve outcomes for African American male students, administrators, staff, and faculty, right? Around, getting more Black men into teaching, into faculty, of course, getting more Black men to transfer and to graduate and to go into administration. And so we really have hit, I think, some significant milestones over the course of those 20 years. Part of our efforts is to give out scholarship and direct aid to students who are in need. We are now hitting $1 million that we have given out in scholarships.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
We've impacted and touched now thousands of students' lives. We've been around long enough, so we've been able to see it come full circle. So, our students are out, making money, having, building and raising a family, landing in some amazing jobs and some careers. And so it's really rewarding to see the fruit of that, of that labor. The men that make up the organization, sacrifice their time, energy, and effort in you. Part of the program, we have a men student charter. So this are organizations that's on our college campus for with a focused effort on Black men. Of course, it's open to all students. We're at over 50 charters across the California Community College system. And then in recent years, we expanded, as you mentioned, to some 4-year universities. So many of our students, when they transfer, they say, hey, I still need a men. Where does my support look like? So when they transfer, our students have created a men charters at their transfer institution. So last year we brought on Sacramento State University and UC Berkeley as charters. We got a grant through ECMC to take our charters nationally. So we have 2 charters in Minnesota, 3 in the state of Washington, and now in Alabama. So just 3 weeks ago, we have our first student charter that is opening at a HBCU. So Tuskegee University now has an AMEND student charter. So we are excited about that. That has received national recognition. The fact that Tuskegee is doing this work. Tuskegee is over 65% female. And so there's a real need to attract and retain Black men. And they see AMEND as an apparatus for doing that. So yeah, men have enjoyed a lot of success, but in many ways, Doc, it feels like we're just getting started.
Well, you know what? When I first met you, Dr. Bush, I was, I've been around a long time, as you stated, in many of the systems. And it's very rare. I have many feelings inside that I keep to myself at times, but I can always tell a quality person. And even though when we originally met some years ago, many years ago now, I didn't say too much. You were very intriguing to me as a person, because I thought that you were a very introspective person with a positive goal to help men of color. And so I want to thank you for not only all of your work, and I want to ask you, having been such a trailblazer yourself, to help not only men of color, but people in general, students in general.
Yes.
Can you describe some of your work and obligations as the president of Cosumnes River College? What are some of the things in the community that you are also part of, as well as running the institution?
Yes. So, I mean, being a college president is a big job. There's no way to deny that. I run from that. It takes a great deal of time, energy, and effort just to maintain what I call the kind of status quo or interworkings of a college. But think about if you are a leader that believes in transformational leadership, then tack on to that what would be the energy level needed.
That's right.
In order to improve institutional culture, to eliminate gaps in achievement, to provide more resources and support for faculty, classified professionals, and administrators, so they could be in the best position to do really good work. It's a lot. And at CRC, I've been so fortunate to be at a college that embraces innovation, that centers the experience of our students. So we've been able to do what I call monumental work. I think the latest example of our work has been our endeavors to be a zero-cost textbook institution. 4 years ago, only 11% of our classes were open educational resources or zero textbook cost course. Now it's at 78%. We're leading the nation. And
oh, wow.
Saving students over $17 million conservatively over that period of time. We did work to ensure that our first-time freshmen have access to 15 units in taking college-level English and math in their first semester with wraparound support and services with caseload counseling. So we one of very few colleges in the nation to have that type of prescribed schedule for our first-time freshmen coming into our institution. So we've done great work. We have, mitigated some of the gaps in achievement that exist. Still a lot of work to go. But for our Latinx students, for example, we have eliminated a gap in enrollment in college-level English, and then also within that throughput within that. Eliminated a gap for Latinx students in terms of those who are enrolled in full time and in more than 12 units. So we've done a lot of work, and we're trending in the right direction of improving outcomes for all of our students. And I think in some ways, this intersects with my work outside of the college, because there's a lot of people talking about what we should do as colleges and what is possible. But when we look at institutions, we don't see a lot of movement. We don't see a lot of change. And for me, I want to prove that it's possible for a college to do really good work, transformational work. And so it's important for me, as I wear these other hats, I do this other work, that I could point to my own institution as going through the necessary struggle and discomfort to improve and to be better. So I really try to not compartmentalize my work. So my work with the men is not separate than my work as a college president. Me being the board president of the Campaign for College Opportunity, which is a huge and noted educational advocacy group nationally, and definitely have a strong footprint and probably been the larger movers around educational change and advocacy in the state of California, is not separate from my role as college president. That I find a way to integrate that. And that integration really comes about is how can I position myself to do the most good? And that's what has guided me throughout my career. I don't chase titles or positions, but I do chase down doing good work. And so I try to be involved with other people and other organizations that share that same mission, that share that same level of commitment and passion. And fortunately, it has worked out for me.
Dr. Bush, I thank you for all of that. Thank you. As a college president, I know you interface a lot with faculty. Can you tell us how you offer effective support and guidance for many of your faculty professionals, both at your college and abroad?
Yeah, I think one is to listen, to engage with faculty and go to departmental level meetings, right? Or even informally on campus, have a conversation around, how things are going, or how, not just how you're doing, how things are going, really, how's it going? How's it going inside of the classroom? And I've been fortunate with faculty would invite me to come in and sit in on a class, and that has been invaluable. I think also, in addition to listening, is to trust your faculty. One of the things that we talk about here at CRC is always assume positive intentions. Like, we disagree here. Like, we've had some real strong, I think, important disagreements with some of our faculty and some of the direction I wanted to take our institution. But what is never questioned is their subject matter expertise. They are the experts in their field, and I yield to that, and I honor that perspective. Secondly, trust that they are here to best serve our students, that no one is coming to us to cause harm. Everyone wants to see our students win and to succeed. That we may disagree on how to best do that, but we don't disagree on whether or not that is our intention to do so. So I think one is listening, two is providing a level of trust, and third was something that I think may be counterintuitive, is to challenge our faculty. One of the things that I talk about when I go into departmental meetings is that it's my job to push you, even though I may not be the subject matter expert. My job is to be able to push you to think about how we are approaching teaching and learning. And are we doing everything that we can to improve outcomes for the students? And also be willing to say, hey, as administrators, we may have fallen short in giving you the resources and the professional development that you need. And let's make sure that you have that. So part of my job is to challenge, is to ask hard questions, is to disrupt. But then that brings me to the last part, and something I don't think is talked about enough in educational spaces. Is my hope is that they know, and believe me when I say this, that even in the midst of challenging, all of it is being done through a framework of love.
That's right.
Right. Love for them as faculty member, because again, I know that they want to show up and do their very best, and they do come every day to do their very best for our students. So I love you enough to continue for us to push each other, to ensure that we don't get complacent, to make sure that we're current in our practices, to make that happen. And then it definitely is driven out of love for our students, right? Because it's my belief that every student that steps foot on my college should have the same opportunity to be able to reach their hopes, dreams, goals, and aspirations, even those they are not yet able to fully articulate. Like, wow. I want to fulfill their dreams that they have not yet had.
Wow. Because
they haven't been exposed to the information to even dream fully. Or they've been told all their life that they're not smart, that they're not college ready, that they're less than. And so their dreams are matching those negative thoughts that they have internalized. Like, I don't want to hit that standard of their dreams. I want our students to come and see a new reality for themselves. And I want us to hit those new dreams and aspirations that is going to develop as a result of coming in contact with our faculty that see something in them that they yet don't see in themselves, right?
Wow.
And so that's how I engage, our faculty, and then also being vulnerable. Let them know that I'm human, that I'm not this new species called administrator. I'm not some new species called college president, right? That I hurt, that I don't have all the answers, that my feelings can get hurt when people say something crazy about me, that there's things that keep me up at night, that I have to manage, family and career stuff just like them. And I don't have all the answers, and we got to figure this out. But I believe that we could figure it out together. So I think it's a combination of all those things that I try to bring to the table to interact with our faculty.
Dr. Bush, you are a very great man and a great social advocate, administrator, not only for your college, but for the state of California and abroad. Let me ask this question. Who influenced you to want to become a college president?
Yeah, man, I don't know. I think it kind of just happened. I would say I was definitely more influenced to be an educator. I think I definitely was influenced to be a servant. I think that goes back to what I was saying, how my parents was raised and how they raised us. Even though, I was born and raised in California, in Pomona. I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. My siblings were all born in Mississippi. So even though I was brought up in California, I was still reared in the South, if that makes sense.
Yes, right?
Okay. It made frequent trips to kind of reiterate that point. And my parents always said, hey, man, basically, you're blessed to be a blessing. You're a servant. Man, I saw them. My parents were educators. My father was a football coach, teacher, a dean, and a vice principal. My mother was a teacher. Then when came out from the South, she was substitute teaching because was raising a family. Then stopped, in the formal role of being an educator. I said formal role because she still was very much an educator inside of our home to raise us. And so education was something that was ingrained in us. Like doing well in school wasn't an option. Like there was consequences for not bringing home A's on our report card. So education was instilled. My father would always say education is the one thing that no one could ever take from you.
That's right.
And always says, son, get an education, son, get an education. But also I saw them model what it means to just be good humans. I mean, literally taking care of our neighbors, not in some kind of, philosophical way. No, take this plate over to Sister Brooks because Sister Brooks is sick. Yeah, make sure, see what it is that they need. I saw them give money to folks and all these different things. And so I was just raised under this kind of ethos, this kind of philosophy of giving back and blessed to be a blessing. It was a push towards education. My parents was educators. And so it was real natural for me to go in education. I really didn't make a decision to want to be president until I was like 3 or 4 years in as a vice president. When I was vice president, my first 2 years was like, no way I want to be a college president. I'm good as being a vice president. Like, who would want that role? But at this particular time, kind of direction of community colleges was changing from being places to viewed as access to having accountability around student outcomes, student success. Equity had just began to kind of enter into the conversation. And so, at some point, I just did a real evaluation of what I felt my skill sets and my strengths were, and said that I now believe there is alignment between the expectations and the role of a college president that matched my particular interests and skill sets. And was at that point that I made a decision, one, because I believed that I would add value, and two, because I saw some alignment now with the expectation of the role in college president, what I was bringing to the table. To go back to something I said earlier, I believe was an opportunity now for me to do more good in the role as president than what I was doing as a vice president. So I made a decision at that point.
Well, you have certainly lived up to each one of those expectations, which I want to ask another question. Can you describe your most significant research ideas and findings in support of learning and leadership for students of color?
No, man, that's a great question. I appreciate that for a number of reasons, because often community college professionals are not viewed as academic. They're definitely not viewed as being researchers in this space. And that's something that I try to call attention to and encourage community college professionals is to engage in research. So I've been fortunate over the course of my career to still publish fairly often. I set a goal once I got my doctorate degree was to put out at least one publication every year. It may not have worked out that way, but I've had the same number of publications in years I've had since my Ph.D. So on average, I put out, kind of 1 to 2 peer-reviewed publications a year. And fortunately, just released a co-cipher, a co-author book. We use the term co-cipher book that just was released last month. And it's a research methodology book called the Sankofa Research Model. And it outlines how researchers should approach when they are focused on doing research around African American men and boys. So I'm excited about that work. A lot of my research is focused on improving outcomes of African American men directly, and then definitely with implications on research then for improving outcomes for men of color. And so since my dissertation on, really my research has discovered that the reason for what we consider the underperformance of African American men is not a result of African American men and boys being the problem. It's not based on a lack of motivation. It's definitely not based on a lack of intelligence. It really is because the institution has not been designed for the success of black men and boys. That when we look at the factors that contribute to the outcomes, is often around a disconnect that black men and boys have with faculty. Is the disconnect they have with the institution is not being seen or being validated within the college. Is a lack of representation inside of the classroom. It's a lack of representation with the curriculum. Oftentimes the curriculum is not relevant, let alone being representative of their own cultural norms and cultural values. It's based of kind of years of educational neglect, and we get to see that play out when they matriculate to post-secondary institutions. And so really the lack of success, and I put that in air quotes, of black men is an institutional failure and not a failure of black men and boys. And so the institution has to do a deep interrogation around its policies, its approaches, and its practices that's not creating the condition for black men to be successful. And my research continues to substantiate that.
Dr. Bush, that is such a significant approach. Having worked in all the three systems of the California Master Plan for Higher Education myself, I used to always say, and I still say, that unfortunately, first of all, I want to commend you for being such a real academic, because people still don't understand that the community college, many places within the four-year institution, is still viewed as substandard. Because many of the faculty professionals, and not just the faculty professionals, the high-ups as well, don't really emphasize enough skills in research, and we tend to concentrate a lot on effective teaching methodologies, but not even creating the teaching methodologies.
Yes.
And so when you are a research scholar, the advantage is you sometimes, if you use it effectively, you can create methodologies that really make a great impact. But so many professionals do not, especially within our space, don't understand the real value of real research. And I think that becomes one of the divisions, or it has come, one of the divisions of the community college, collaborating not just from speech, but from an actual real value standpoint. When I worked on, I think it was called the Intersegmental Council of Academic Senate. I think it was ICUS, that's right. I was on that committee for 3 or 4 years. And I recall, as the Academic Senate president for my district and being on the state senate, I remember whenever the faculty professionals would speak from the community college versus the UC or the CSU system, there was always sort of a pandering. I mean, you would speak and people would give you the respect, but in reality, what you had to say really had no real value. But I can really see, and I have watched the impact of not only yourself, but many of the professional men who are in A2 Men, and I applaud all of you, because I started many years ago where there were no black men of color in any positions. I tell people, when I went through college, I started way back in 1977, and I mean, I never had a black college professor my entire college career. And the one that I did have was part-time and was only there one semester. And so it is really significant to see a man of your stature and learning, but real skill, make an impact in the system. Which brings me to my next question. What challenges have you faced as a black man of color in higher education? And I'm sure there's been many. So I'm not trying to put you in a crazy space.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question. I mean, of course, I get that question a lot. There's a lot of folks who, when they working on their doctorate degree would choose aspect of leadership or black leadership or the stage of leadership of color. And so, not a whole lot of us. So I do a lot of surveys and a lot of interviews for folks who are working on their dissertation, particularly around this topic. And it's always kind of difficult for me to answer. And in some ways it's sad that it is. And I'll say it this way, because so much of the issues and challenges, hurts and pains associated with it being a black leader is so normalized. It's second nature, and you just roll with it because it's just a day. It's just a day in the life of. And my fear, Prof, is if I dwell on that part of my day, I will become stuck. Almost paralyzed, because there always will be something, because there's always some microaggression. I always have to, prove my intellect and my value when I walk in different spaces and different places. I know I get questions that other folks don't get questioned about. People make assumptions about my intent in ways that they wouldn't question someone else. But I have to keep moving, I have to keep pushing. So rarely do I step back and think about like, oh, this happened to me because I'm black. Like I know it, but I suppress it and put it down. So I'm sure maybe, some innocent person or not so innocent person might say one of these things that may be normal one day, and maybe I might lose it on. So I got to be careful that I'm not bothering up too much. But I really don't sit down and take into account for those challenges. But one is, and I know it, is, trying to get into the role of a presidency. I mean, there's a certain, or even in considering promotional opportunities, we go through some exercises that no one else has to go through. And there's psychological damage. So I'm just talking to a professional administrator that, wants to apply high-level position in another district. And so we do the count of how many black people are already there as a president in that district, or how many other black people are VP, because the belief is if they already got one, then it's not likely you're going to get it, because they're not going to hire more than one or more than two. So when you researching, let's think about the psychological harm is created. So part of our research as black men and black people in looking at a position is hoping that there's no other black person in that role already.
Yeah, that's true. That's crazy.
So this is the kind of stuff that we all know that black folks navigate every single day in this space, but we never talk about it.
That's right.
Because it's just part of our reality. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't even know if we really know how deep our challenges are, or how deeply impacted, how deeply we are impacted by those challenges. So I just bring that up, as an example of the different things in which we navigate every day and we just take for granted.
Wow. You know what? Thank you for that answer. I know due to time, I'm just going to ask you two more questions.
Yes.
And this one really is a tricky question. What community and campus work or district work have you accomplished for the improvement of the protected classes with respect to the current DEI versus equality movement?
Yeah,
that's a big issue right now. DEI versus,
No, it's not a tough question for me. For me, I keep pushing. It's our job to do right by every student, every faculty, every staff person, every administrator that come into our institution. My goal is to see folks win. And in order to see folks win, just like if you were coaching a team, you're not going to coach every player the same way because it requires something different to bring out the best in that individual.
Okay.
And so for me, is in our quest to want to see everyone win, there's certain things that I have to do that may be different that I have to do with someone else to put them in a position to win. But the goal is to have everyone win, to get the most out of every individual. So that guides my work. And so that includes continue to target and identify specific populations that need assistance. I mean, it'd be crazy to believe that our foster youth would not require some different type of level of service or attention to someone who's not a foster youth. It doesn't make any sense to believe our students who are formerly incarcerated don't need anything else. Also, it doesn't make any sense to have Black and brown students that have gone through 12 years of education that has over-disciplined, over-policed, where there's been a lack of representation, that they haven't been affirmed for their brilliance, their intellect, that we would need to provide some other type of support and systems for students where that has been their experience. And so we keep pushing in that direction. But I mentioned something tangible, like our zero cost textbook saving $17 million for our students. So I knew Black and brown students were disproportionately being impacted by showing up to class day one and absent of their textbooks. Wow. And so that means from the very beginning, the first day of class, they are already behind. So while zero cost textbooks and OER is helping every single student that comes to my institution, regardless of their economic, regardless of their race, regardless of their gender, all students are benefiting that. But I also know the deep impact that is having the students who are coming from low socioeconomic situation. I know the deep impact that is having on foster youth, formerly incarcerated students, and Black and brown students who are often disproportionately also low income. So those things are having direct benefits. So find ways to know that when we help our students who are most vulnerable, we are simultaneously helping all of our students, because if it works for our most vulnerable students, then we know it's going to work for our students who are coming to our institution, quote unquote, in best position, are more prepared to take advantage of the services and instruction that we offer.
Dr. Bush, I am so grateful that you took the time out of your schedule to allow me to interview. And my final question is, can you discuss just quickly some of your future goals, future projects, and innovations?
Yeah, wow. Yeah, and so working on several things. One goal for the institution is to be a zero-cost textbook college. We want to be the first college in the nation where a student does not have to buy a book for any course. So we want to be a zero-cost textbook college. Then also our second goal is to eliminate the gap in achievement as it relates to our course success rates. Of course, course success rates is an indicator of transfer and degree completion. And so we're doing some hard, meaningful, courageous work around teaching and learning. And at least in one way that it could be measured. It's not the only measure. I want to be clear about that, through how students are performing inside of that particular class. In terms of my other work statewide, one big project I'm working on now is the Pan-African Virtual College. This is a global interconnected exchange program in partnership with the California Community College System and then 4 of the largest universities in Ghana, where students will be able to take courses virtually. And these courses will be African-centered and African relevant in terms of classes needed for students to build out their communities here and build out their communities on the continent of Africa right now, starting with Ghana. We mentioned the problem of students not being able to have representation inside the classroom. We talked about the problem already of not having relevant, culturally affirming material This is a way to remedy that, and also as a way to expand the reality of our students by giving them exposed to global education and global opportunities that they never thought was possible because they didn't have the money and the resources to participate in traditional study abroad opportunities. So our goal is to open the Pan-African Virtual College spring of 27. We have a design team that meets monthly, comprising of leaders within the state of California and leaders in Ghana. Really proud, Sylvester, in giving your history with Academic Senate. And we know what is happening historically with the leadership of Academic Senate now. They took the Pan-African Virtual College to the November plenary, and they passed a resolution in support of the Pan-African Virtual College. And they also are serving on the committee. The Academic Senate president is now serving, statewide Academic Senate president now serving on the design team meeting, and with 4 or 5 of executive leaders serving on the subcommittees. So this is going to happen. It's going to be the first in the world for this type of exchange that will happen, that has a focus on the African diaspora and content, and that is relevant to Africa culture, traditions. So it's exciting. Of course, there's other things, but those are the kind of the big ones that I'm involved in right now.
Wow. Dr. Bush, as the CEO of this podcast, having interviewed thousands of people all throughout the world, this has been a very special one to me. I deeply care for you and love you and your family.
Love you too.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day to allow me to speak with you. And please have a happy holiday with
you as well,
lovely family.
No, I appreciate you deeming me worthy enough to bring me on finally. I'm overdue, so I'm doing something right in life.
All right. God bless you. And thank you once again.
Happy holidays.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.